Hey guys, we're back with more Star Ocean 3. And this time we are in the 4th dimension. So, we're no longer in the Eternal Sphere. And, yeah, this is the one place that isn't in the Eternal Sphere. Well, there is a few other areas that we can explore, but like the fourth dimension is the one place that is not in the Eternal Sphere. And where the Eternal Sphere was made. So, I want to go into a bit of an explanation here because, like, I mean, first of all, we should stay here at the inn. Pay attention to this. This is very, very important because this universe, there's a lot to talk about with this universe. And this is one of the reasons why I love this game. Like, just pay attention to what he's saying. This is a sleeping facility for use of those who have just come to town and who have not yet been assigned a residence. Pay attention to that wording, people, because that is going to be a recurring theme in this entire universe that we have just entered. Of course, even if you already have a place to live in this town, as long as you pay the fee of 1,004, you are free to use the facilities too. It's your money. Are you paying attention to what he's just saying right now? Because this is the important takeaway. This is the important takeaway of it all. Because this, right here, and if you talk to the NPCs you'll see more of it, is far more important than the whole, like, plot twist of, like, the Eternal Sphere being a simulator, because right now we don't really know much about the 4th dimension. But when you talk to some of the NPCs here, you start to learn a little bit more as to how the 4th dimension really works. And that's when the story actually gets interesting in this game. Because it's all hidden behind these NPCs. And I feel that a lot of people don't pay attention to that because it's easily missed. If you just focus on the main story, you don't really see it. But before I get into talking to some of these NPCs to kind of like go over that, I'm just going to walk around here while I explain this. I want to talk about like the whole situation with the Eternal Sphere first, because that's a lot to take in. With every Star Ocean game being set in a simulator, every single one, except this part of this game. Like once you get here in the in their real world, but you know, in this like 4th dimension that controls the Eternal Sphere. Like the thing about it is, and this is like, I know I've compared it to Night at the Museum and Matrix and all that lot, but the thing about it is, and this is what I feel that they're trying to do. Because if you think about it, this place right here that we are in, it's really more of a philosophy than anything. Take away the whole idea of a video game, like in a video game. Take that out of your mind for a second, because clearly, like, you know, that's not really necessarily the case. It's something else. It's something that is kind of in a way, like by the looks of it, a little bit more advanced than a video game. In fact, a lot more advanced than a video game. I mean, you've got to remember, Fate, Sophia, and everyone else, like, and Maria and everyone else, like, they're able to use their powers to get here, you know? And everyone else has managed to get here as well. Now, if this was just a video game, how would it be possible for Fate and everybody else to actually be here? How would it actually be possible for them to exist here? And that's the thing. That's the main takeaway from all of this. I'm just going to go around and just look for treasure chests, because there's some treasure chests to be found around here. But yeah, like, that's the main takeaway from this huge thing. Like, it is a real world. You know, the Eternal Sphere is real. But it's a man-made world. It's a world created by humans. Humans that live in this world. Like that person right there. He's a human being, look at him. He's a freaking human being. That's what he is. You know, you can call them 4D beings if you want, but they are human. You know? They are just like us, you know? Just like the characters we're controlling right now. You know? They are just like them. The only difference between them and the characters we're controlling is obviously we have characters that have Kamehameha powers and they don't. And these are just normal people living in a universe, and they don't really quite understand or really know like much about the realities of their universe. They are living within this universe like completely clueless and ignorant to everything that's going around them, you know, that's going on around them and that's going on within the Eternal Sphere. Although they know what's going on inside the Eternal Sphere, but they're ignorant to the true nature of what the Eternal Sphere is. They only know what they perceive and what they see, and what they see and perceive is that they essentially figured out that they've essentially like kind of like led themselves to believe that it's a video game, that it's just some random like, well, not necessarily a video game, but you know, like it's like this entertainment sort of thing that they just watch for their own amusement, and they can kind of insert them like a digital version of themselves into to kind of have like a small bit of involvement in it, which is why a lot of people kind of like compare it to an MMORPG, because these people have the ability to place themselves within this universe digitally. So they can connect to this universe, they can connect to the Eternal Sphere, I mean, like, and they can have their own character in it. Essentially living a second life, which is kind of how, like, that's kind of how it all kind of makes sense. But this is not just a game, you know? This is an actual, like, an actual universe that has its own existence. Like, when you essentially go into the Eternal Sphere from here as like a citizen of the fourth dimension, when a citizen of the fourth dimension goes into the Eternal Sphere, they are inserting themselves into another world, another like universe that is separate from their own. But the thing about it is they are not directly inserting themselves into it, they are inserting digital avatars into it, which is why people think it's an MMO, but that's the thing. It is a real world where they're putting digital avatars into it because it was created by mankind, and the ability to put whatever they want. Like, the creators of the Eternal Sphere have the ability to put whatever they want, and that includes the people of this universe being able to put their own avatars in there, and as you can see, like they put their own avatars in there so that they can like pretend that they are heroes or whatever the hell, or just have that like feeling of existing in a different world just for like the novelty of it. So they see it as a means of recreation and entertainment. But there's actually a lot more going on here than what appears to be going on, and it kind of all adds up when you start talking to people, because this is where the interesting part of the Eternal Sphere comes in. I mean, like let's talk to this person here, and as you can see, nothing to do. When I'm this bored, there doesn't seem to be anything to live for. Going out of one's way to die seems silly too. Just too much of a hassle. Of course, I'm not going to die, but still. That will make more sense when you speak to more people, but this is a very important topic that this game brings up right now. It's a very important topic that I feel that is very true to real life, especially in this day and age. which is what makes this game's story so fascinating all the more. It's aged extremely well, and I mean extremely well. Despite what people think of it, this game's story has aged exceptionally well because, and I'm going to just come out and say it, Star Rush Until the End of Time predicted the future. This is it. If World War III does not kill us, if we survive that, if we survive long enough, our world will be just like this. And I'm not saying that it's going to be exactly like this. It's not necessarily going to be as technologically advanced as this. I mean, this is peak technological advancement. That's what this is. I mean, come on. Like, we're walking on fucking transparent floors, and you've got all of these things that controls these biomes that are just... I don't even know where we are. Like, if you just look at, like, beneath us, you've just kind of got this, like, abyss below. Like, are we in the skies? Are we in the clouds? Are we in this weird... Like where are, and you've got all these, if you look beneath you, you've got all these places below and floating things. It's like we're in these like floating biomes. That's kind of what it is, and it's weird. It's just so weird what this place is, but and it's so surreal. But the thing about it is, and this is the main takeaway from it all, like, this universe. And if we start talking to people around here, we might actually understand a bit more about it. But yeah, he's basically just shocked about. He's just having that Knights of the Museum sort of feeling where, you know, they're all becoming real. Oh no! And yeah, security are around, and yeah, and then we've got this person. It's like, what am I doing here? Why don't I look for a job? Are you starting to see it, boys? Are you starting to see it? I hope you are, because, yeah. We're going to talk to some more people, and it'll make sense. And, yeah, the kids, obviously... These satellite cities are what they're called. That's another important thing to bear in mind, what she just said right there. Once we've talked to all these NPCs, I will explain it all, but I think you can all figure it out as, you know, eventually. And, yeah, they think that some sort of divine entities caused this. They're all completely oblivious to what's going on. Right, let's go here. And we're in the space-time station. Now, this is very important. Let's talk to these people, because these people will make it obvious. Right, now, once you talk to them, talk to this person. And there's some more people to talk to. Obviously you can talk to Cliff, but we're not talking to him, we're talking to some other people. Talk to this person. Now do you see what I'm talking about here? Did you just see what this guy said? And notice his name. Black market worker. And what did she just say over there? She just said that there have been many cases of fake station employees imitating us and going as far as to attempt to assist people. And then you got this person. So, basically, and I think we can all get the gist of it now. This pretty much explains it all. Only those who've gone to a lost city and a very small number of other people are lucky enough to be allowed to work. And as you can see, I'm jealous of people who have something to do. It's so boring just hanging around all the time. And then, yeah. But it's what she said first. That tells you everything. Lately, some fake employees have been pretending to be us and trying to steal our work. If you see anyone suspicious, please tell me about it. Yeah. Can you believe it? What kind of monstrous fiend steals a person's work? But yes, I'm going to explain all of this now. So basically, the 4D universe, like, while the Eternal Sphere, it's fairly, it's fairly traditional how everything works. It's the usual stuff, like what you'd expect. Obviously, you have, like, in the fantasy settings, you have, like, monarchy and all of that, and then in the, like, science fiction settings, you have, like, a democracy and all of that lot. Well, if you pay attention, you'll probably start to realize that the 4D universe is none of those things. This, my friends, is a communist society. This is a communist world where people have been assigned their own biomes and their own residences and their own roles, and those who are fortunate get the luxury of working jobs. Now, what are the jobs in this game? Well, in a way, jobs in this game are basically anything that makes people feel satisfaction. Now, I know a lot of people might think, why would anyone want to work? I mean, working is boring, it's tedious, but that's because in the real world, in our world, I'm not talking about the 4D universe, I'm talking about in reality right now. Work is usually looked at as something that we don't want to do. It's usually looked at as being something really tedious and monotonous, mainly because most jobs that are entry level are really boring and mind-numbing and tedious, and like they're not really jobs that people want to do. They're just jobs that someone has to fill because they need to be done. The thing about it is the fourth dimension is set in a universe where, like, the technology is so advanced that people don't need to work anymore. They don't need to work. They don't need to do all of these, like, jobs that require, like, the whole world to keep going. They don't need to have all the cogs that keep things running, because all of that is already done. It's already done by other things. And if you want to make a parallel to real life, and you want to know what I'm referring to when I say that this game is actually, like, very similar to what's happening in the world right now, in the real world, and how this game predicted the future. Like, just think about it. AI. What happens when AI takes over? What happens when AI, like, assuming that it doesn't take full control over us, like, and does something really bad and kills us all or whatever, like, what will happen when AI takes everybody's jobs and controls everything and runs everything, and like the AI works the cogs and machines do everything? What then? What do people do for work? That's the thing. They either do or they don't. But what is work? What is work in this universe? Well, as you can see, there were these security guards around in the space-time area that were basically there to direct people, but they're also there as authority figures, you know? A bit like these, well, not these guys, but like, a bit like the security guards, like, for example, no, not this way, I'm trying to find the security guard somewhere around here, but, where is it? It's probably up here. Yeah, a bit like these guys right here. These guys are security guards. So, these people are authority figures, and they have willingly chose to work so that they can exert their authority and feel important and have authority over others, because that makes them feel good, it makes them feel important. That's essentially means that they are treated like as like higher people in that hierarchy, and that's why they choose to work, because work brings them that feeling of importance, and it makes them feel more important than the people who aren't working, the other people around them, and it brings them fulfillment knowing that they are of a position of importance that all the other people in this world are not. And it's because they have the luxury of being able to work and do these jobs. That's only one of many jobs. You'll find out more later on. I mean, if you remember, Flab mentioned one of his friends, Blair, is also working on something. Like, she's involved in the Eternal Sphere, so she also has a job, and her job appears to be in a sort of creative department. So creative jobs as well, where people can create, like, and be imaginative and all of that. Like, creative roles and, like, roles of authority, and pretty much any role that people would want are the only jobs that are left. So what happens when you have, like, a world full of people that, you know, all want these jobs? Well, they can't get them. And what happens when all of the, like, jobs that nobody wants to do have been taken by AI? Well, communism. Because think about it, everybody just gets the role they're given, and everybody, if you notice, what that innkeeper said, they said, once you have been assigned a residence, you won't need to use this inn, because you aren't leaving, you aren't moving from here, you know? And he says, of course, if you want to waste your money, feel free, you can keep paying us, but it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you are assigned a residence, you are not allowed to leave, you are now not allowed to go anywhere else, you are stuck here for the rest of your life. This is your prison. This is where you will spend the rest of your meaningless existence, because that's the way of the world. The few get the opportunity to work and feel important, while the many live only to consume within this universe that has no meaning beyond consumption. So when you think of it from that perspective, the Eternal Sphere is actually very important, because the Eternal Sphere is essentially the one and only thing that gives these people meaning in their pathetic, meaningless lives. That's how important the Eternal Sphere is to these people. The Eternal Sphere is everything, because they have nothing else. You know? There's nothing else to do. Like, all they can do is entertain themselves in the Eternal Sphere and lose themselves in it. And the thing about it is, it's because of the Eternal Sphere that people have been so willingly, like, that people have become so willing to forfeit their freedoms in the first place. Because of the Eternal Sphere and people getting so, like, roped up into it and, like, so obsessed with it and, like, attached to it, all of these people have given up their freedoms for entertainment, for the simulator, to be in the simulator, and they forfeited their freedom for that. and now they can no longer work, now they don't have freedom, now they are stuck in these prison biomes, like these prison cities, but it's a comfy prison. Essentially, these people have all been blue-pilled into submission. That's what's happened. And it's communism. Like, they are assigned a role and that's it. You know? Like, the moment you're born, that's it. You are either working or you're not. It's all decided by the 4D government. They decide everything that you do. They decide everything for you. And if your job is just simply to stay at home and play video games all day, or stay at home and consume, that's all you're going to do. Because that's all you can do. There's nothing else to live for. And that, right there, is what I love about this game the most. Not the plot twist itself, but the way the 4D universe interprets what our future may become if things carry on the way they do. If things carry on the way they do, this could happen. And I'm not trying to be a fucking conspiracy theorist here, you know, in the sense that it's gonna all go wrong, because I don't necessarily think that it is a conspiracy. I just think that this could be something that will potentially happen in the future. I'm not saying that it will, but I'm saying it has the potential to happen. If we ever manage to get that technology, this would potentially be our reality. And the reason, like, I see it all the time, people. Look at the gaming industry right now, and look at how people are. Look at Nintendo fans. Look at how they act. Look at how people act when game companies tell them, continue to support us or else we will stop releasing your favourite games. Continue to support us or else we won't, you know, we won't, like, continue your franchise and we'll just leave it for dead, you know? There's this sort of blackmail that game companies have that has essentially dominated their audiences. And I know I'm not making much progress here, just walking around, but I need to say this, and this is the only way I'm going to be able to say this, and this is going to be the whole episode, just me talking about this whole universe, because it needs to be said. You know? These people, like, they're not going to fight publishers, oh no. These people will keep buying, consuming, they won't ask questions, they'll just consume, and they'll consume more, and they'll keep consuming. And the more they consume, the more they mindlessly consume and don't stand up for their consumer rights and, like, for quality and to make sure that they get, like, good quality games and, you know, that their entertainment is good and what they're paying for is worth the money. If they're not going to do that, if they're not going to stand up for that, it's just going to get worse. And that's what's happening to the gaming industry right now. So if people are going to be, like if people are going to be influenced by the gaming industry, like, and people are going to be, like, pushed into supporting an industry just simply out of mindless fandom, then do I think that this could very well be our future? Absolutely. This is our future if this carries on. If that carries on, this is what will happen to us all. We'll all become prisoners, and by this point, we won't have a say. Because, I mean, I'm not just talking about the gaming industry here. That's just one example here. I'm not just saying that because of people solely in the gaming industry. I'm talking about in everything. In every aspect of life. If people just let others walk all over them and don't fight back at all, in regards to, like, what we are allowed to do in our freedoms, this is what's going to happen. Now, I'm not trying to paint this, and this is the thing I love about this game. It also doesn't try and paint this as a positive or a negative thing. It's just saying, this is the future that the world could have. This could be our future. That's what the game's saying. And that's something that I respect, because this isn't something that is inherently bad or inherently good. In some ways, to some people, this could be paradise. Like, this life of just living in a universe where you can just get endless entertainment and recreation forever, even though you know that your entire existence is pointless and meaningless. Like, if you're already a nihilist, or you're already someone who is just, like, nothing matters, you know, then this is probably the perfect world for you, because you can be a nihilist and not have to work, and you can just play, and just, you know, like, if you are a blue pillar already, if you're the sort of person who picks the blue pill, this is your paradise. But if you're the sort of person who picks the red pill, this is hell. This is literally your worst nightmare. That's literally what Archives is, and the 4D universe. It is literally that. So, it ultimately depends on what it is you want out of life. And this game presents one path that you could have in life, and goes to extremes to describe it. And the thing about it is, and the main takeaway from all of this, the main takeaway from this entire universe, and this entire game, I mean, I might as well say it right now, but the main takeaway of Star Ocean 3's story is that video games and any form of creative media is important. Because it's through video games that I'm not just saying that videos are just an escape. It's through video games that we get to experience and feel things like that can essentially impact our lives. And through those feelings and experiences that we have from video games, it changes how we perceive reality. But I think a quote from Valve Profile perfectly describes it well, and I want to get into it later, but in a way it's just like, even though this isn't real, like, even though, like, well, that's the thing, it is real, but even though this isn't considered real to these people, the Eternal Sphere, the fact of the matter is, there is truth to what is in there. There is truth to it. There's truth to what you see in video games. There is. Even though it's a fictional thing, there is still some truth to that can be carried over to reality. And there's a lot of things that you can learn from video games, and that you can take to video games. I'm not saying that video games are like inherently like going to teach you math or anything like that. I'm just saying that you can take a lot away from them, and like, they are experiences one way or another. And those experiences mean something to us. And the whole point of this game was to remind us all, one, that we're all playing video games and these things aren't real, but to also remind us why we play them, beyond just escapism. You know, it's to feel something, it's to experience something, it's to, you know, it's to have it impact our lives. That's what it's all about. Impact our lives in a way that, you know, ultimately is positive. Because it makes us feel certain things that will carry over in our lives. And there's been games that have, you know, done that for me. Absolutely. There have been games that have made me feel something one way or another in real life, and made me question things, and made me see things a certain way. Like, for example, you know, you could see people in a different way, and see, like the sins that humanity have, but also you can see the good side of humanity, you know? If you basically, like, if you're a cynical person, like, video games can make you feel less cynical. Whereas if you're not a cynical person, if you're like a naive person, video games can also showcase that the world isn't truly sunshine and rainbows, and that bad things can and will happen, and there's bad people out there, you know? And that's the thing, and they also show that there's nuance, and that not everything is good or bad, and these are things that you can carry over from video games, you know? I mean, I'm not saying you can carry over all logic from video games to real life, obviously. Like, there's a lot of stupid shit in video games, like the whole power of friendship nonsense. Obviously, that's not going to carry over into real life, but, you know, like, there is no power of friendship. That's just a load of bollocks. But the fact of the matter is that the thing you take away from games is that, you know, and I think the main message of it's just really badly worded, but I think the real message of it is that when you unify with other people, it makes things more likely to work when you're working together. But on the flip side, things can also go badly when you work together, depending on who you're with. There's a lot of nuance to reality, that obviously video games don't fully like express. And that's the main thing about Star Ocean 3's universe, you know? That is the main takeaway from it, and that's like, the fact that I've been talking about this for like over half an hour just really tells you all about this game and why it's so amazing and why it's so important as a video game. Whether you like this game or not, you can't help but love the fact that it dares to do something like this. It dares to make you question things, but it also dares to present this to you. You know? Because very few games are willing to present this to you. I mean, Dot Hack doesn't count. Like, Dot Hack just, you know right from the get-go, like, what you're getting into. And, you know, like, it goes more, like, Dot Hack's just a completely different ballgame, you know? Same with other games, like, do the whole fucking stuff, like, I don't want to spoil certain other games that do it, because this isn't the only game that does this plot twist, believe it or not. But, I'm not spoiling anything by bringing up Dot Hack, but Dot Hack is a different beast. If you're going to compare this to Dot Hack, it's not like Dot Hack at all, because Dot Hack is, everyone knows right from the get-go, it's a fictional world that you essentially are playing a video game, and you are essentially meeting up with people in the real world who are all connected. Because that's the thing, like, everyone like is playing an MMO, and they're all connected in this MMO. That's basically what Dot Hack is. That's not the case with the Eternal Sphere. Now, I'm not saying that, because, and this is the thing, because like, it's not like Fate is like an avatar for another player. That's not the case. Fate is his own person. He is his own character. Now, you could argue, well, he's an NPC and there are player characters, but while you could argue that there's definitely people that are manipulating characters within the Eternal Sphere. There are. But the fact of the matter is that it's not necessarily the same as an MMO. It doesn't necessarily, it's not proven to function that way, and the Eternal Sphere is very much a real world, you know, in certain ways. It's just that these beings have access to the ability to digitize themselves into that world, whereas Fate and crew, like, you know, they are living in it. They are living in that world like anybody else. Like, if they die in the Eternal Sphere or here, they are dead for good. Whereas if these people die in the Eternal Sphere, they don't. You know, they just get disconnected from it. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. But there's also the possibility of being in the Eternal Sphere. And this is something that we will get to later. Because you're probably wondering, what will happen if you don't digitally insert yourself, but actually physically insert yourself into the Eternal Sphere? That, right there, is a whole different ballgame, and I'm not going to go into that, because that's where we're going to like have to find out about it later on in the game. So now that I've talked about this for like more than half an hour, and probably bored you all to death by not continuing on with this game, we're going to head to Gemity.
Looks like we can get to Gemity from here.
It's like a transporter.
It says Gemity is an amusement city. Wonder what it's like.
Don't know. We'll just have to go find out for ourselves.
But yeah, this is the place where you can essentially transport yourself to anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the 4D universe you can transport yourself to here. But like anything, like anywhere, you have passports and you have, you know, you need identity and all that lot to prove, you know, and basically, you can't just go anywhere. Like, there's only certain people can go certain places because, like I said, like, it's an authoritarian universe where you cannot, you know, you don't have freedom to go wherever you please. You are stuck in your designated position for the rest of your life. But you do have access to Gemity, and everyone can go there. So that's the one place that is an exception to that rule that all civilians can actually go to. But anywhere else, you aren't allowed to go. You know, you only stick to the specific area that you are designated, with this area, archives being that one area. You are not allowed to go anywhere else besides Gemity. But Gemity is important because Gemity, as we will soon see, it's the heart of everything for civilians. It's the heart of civilian life, because Gemity is essentially the heart of the Eternal Sphere. It's the amusement city. It's the city that exists solely for recreational purposes. So obviously, when people aren't eating, sleeping, and, you know, like, doing what it is they do, whatever it is, in their own homes, in private, they're here in Gemity, enjoying themselves. You know? That's basically what Gemity is, and as you can see here, when we go to Gemity, you look around, you'll see that you've got all of these like banners and stuff, but you know, like, and I want to actually go into things now, because as you can see, you've got all these banners and all these stuff that you can see here, like it's definitely like this fun place that you can go to. And as you can see, it's basically Fantasyland. That's what this is. You've got all of like the medieval looking places. It's like going to a theme park, pretty much. That's what it is. It's like Disneyland, but for communists. Space communists, if you want to call it that, like futuristic communists. Disneyland. It's so bright my eyes hurt. Because she's used to lingering in the darkness because she's a ninja. But yeah, basically, Gemity is the place where people can just like forget about their boring realities and have fun all like forever, you know? An eternity of fun and recreational fun, bliss, and activities can be done here. Like, you can go to Disneyland forever in this universe. Like, you literally, like, you can just walk there. You don't have to buy tickets to go to Disneyland. You just teleport there, and you're there, and then suddenly everyone's at Disneyland having fun and doing all the fun stuff that you can do at Disneyland. But the point of this is that even though you've got all of this cool stuff, all this fun stuff that you can do, all this fun recreational stuff, like, there's still that emptiness, isn't there? You know? Like, how much fun can you have before the fun factor kind of wears off? That's another question the game kind of asks, and that's subjective for everybody. To some people, it never ends. You know? Some of us, we can just have fun forever and enjoy everything forever, but, you know, if all you can do is have fun, then, you know, eventually, like, you're going to start questioning, you know, and this is where it gets psychological. Eventually, you're going to start questioning what your life's purpose is, you know. But if you're, as I say, if you're a blue pillar and you're a freaking nihilist, you probably love this universe. This is the perfect universe for you, like I said. But not everyone is going to be like that. You know, not everyone is going to feel that way. And that's the main takeaway from this whole place, you know? Yes, it's fun for all the family, and it's got, like, it's an amazing place. Like, this is a place that you could only dream of visiting in life, you know? Like, could you imagine a place like this existing in real life? A place that truly simulates a universe of fantasy in real life. Like, it's just amazing. But then what happens when that novelty dies out? You know, and like, or will it die out? It's all subjective, but it presents it and it shows you it and it says, you know, could you live like this forever? Could you live a life where it's just this for the rest of your existence? Just roaming around these fantasy theme parks and just, you know, getting up to fun stuff and playing games. There's mini games here. Yeah, you can play mini games. If you go up here, then you'll be able to basically interact with some of the fun features that you can do. You can do bunny racing here if you want to do bunny racing. You can do bunny racing over there. You can do runic chess, so you can play a chess game here. Like, so yeah, there's games, and obviously you've got the arena here. So like all the characters that people have leveled up within the Eternal Sphere, they can now PvP here because you've got to have the PvP fans, you know, and this is where the PvPers go. You know, when they can use their fictional, well, for them it is fictional digital avatar and bring it here to go and fight against their pals. And there's probably an esport or something where there's big money and there's people that, you know, want to start real life fights over losing, and, you know, egos and all that is probably involved there, I don't know, but yeah. And you've got mascots, bunny mascots, you know, of course, like, it is Disneyland for communists. This is literally what it is. And in here, if you look here, over here, it says the text Eternal Sphere. Now, I want to actually bring a little theory here, and this has to do with symbology. What exactly is symbology? And what exactly is symbological genetics? And when I see these symbols, or like these, like this foreign, like, text on the floor, you know, I don't know if it's Japanese or like whatever, but it really gets me thinking, what if symbology and symbols are just programming code? You know? And that's kind of what I think it is, especially with the symbological genetics. It's basically just programming code. That's what symbology is. It's programming code that allows you to manifest specific things. Like when you use Firebolt, you are essentially activating a program that unleashes fireballs. That's why characters that learn the code can actually manifest it at will. Because they've learned the code. Like, that's why when you go to other places in, like, the universe, I mean, look, this person's cosplaying as freaking, as the chick from Aquaria, you know? So, yeah, and there's the nobleman there. Like, they're all cosplaying as characters from the Eternal Sphere. But the thing is that that's kind of how it works. It's a programming code. As far, like, that's my theory, at least. That it's a programming code that, you know, and that explains the whole symbological genetics. Like, the symbols are the program. They are the code that makes the program do a specific thing. They are essentially code that's inputted into the specific program that makes the program do a specific thing. And that's why Fate has his godly powers and Maria has her godly powers, because they're programmed and coded to do that. You know? To have that ability. It's all programming. And that's what symbology is. It's programming. That's why when you have areas in Star Ocean games where you see these symbols in places, like there's that place in Star Ocean 5, for example, not Star Ocean 5, Star Ocean 6, for example, and they can just pick up on that and like learn the symbology through that. That's why, because when they read the symbols and they see the symbols, if they are a specific type of person, that knowledge of symbols can resonate with that person, and they can utilize that as a program. Now they are now that they've encountered that, they are now like coded to be able to utilize those symbols as magic, those programs, you know, those codes as magic. Yeah, I know my explanation is not the best, but yes, as you can see, this is the gateway to the Eternal Sphere. To get to the Eternal Sphere, you go through here. And the cool thing about the Eternal Sphere for us is, while obviously for these people it's entertainment, for us the Eternal Sphere is going to be essentially our airship of the game. Because you don't have an airship, like, I guess you have the Diplo, but like the Diplo is kind of just this static place in this game. You don't really get like a fast travel either, but you do get the next best thing, which is the Eternal Sphere itself. So through this, we are able to insert ourselves into the Eternal Sphere, but we aren't inserting ourselves as digital avatars like those people are. We are literally inserting ourselves into the Eternal Sphere. Whereas these people, they're inserting digital avatars, but I don't think these people will know the difference, because obviously we have symbols, which, as I say, my theory is it's a code that is allowing us to go in and out of the Eternal Sphere at will because of Sophia's power. So yeah, they don't know that though. They just think that we're just using it for fun and that we're just like putting our digital avatars in. So yeah. And yeah, you can enter the Eternal Sphere. And when they do that, they're just going to tell us that the Milky Way, yeah, you can't go there because obviously the executioners are there and all of that. And to them, it's just kind of like a server. They just see it as like a server like the server's just closed or whatever the hell, you know. And yeah, I mean, look, they just used a symbol there, you know. So yeah, maybe that's the case.
What do we do now?
I think we can change the settings with that device there.
I love how she looks around to see where she can sit and thinks, oh, it's a chair, I can sit there. But she doesn't know it's a chair at the time. She's like, what's that? Oh, it's a chair.
It's no good. It's asking for an ID disc. Looks like you can't access from here unless you register first.
Seriously?
And after coming all this way,
Hey, do you think maybe we could use Vlad's disc?
maybe it's worth a shot. Maria?
Pretty sure we won't have discs in the future though, that's one thing for sure. But this game was released in 2003, so, you know, obviously they still think we have discs in this day and age, but yeah, we're not going to have them eventually.
Okay, this looks good.
It's going to be all digital, unfortunately, even though I hate to admit it.
No.
What's wrong?
It authorized us, didn't it? What's wrong?
It's like Vlad said. The Milky Way is locked. You can't get in.
What should we do?
Excuse me, can I try?
Sure, I don't mind.
Yep, she has the connection gene, so yeah, we can go back to the Milky Way. Because she has administrator privileges.
Hey, how did that happen?
What's going on?
I can't believe it. I've got system administrator privileges.
Huh? What?
Sophia must have done something to it when she touched it. But how?
All I did was touch it. I thought maybe I could do something like I did with the time gate. I wished as hard as I could that I could go to the Milky Way. I'm sorry.
You used the power of connection. You connected us to the Milky Way. I can't believe it actually works in this dimension too.
At any rate, we're in. I'll grant myself access privileges to the Milky Way. Then I'll leave a Trojan that will allow me to access it whenever I want.
So, yeah, basically, I mean, you can talk to everyone here. Yeah, who is the second best? Yeah, of course, it's all going over Nell's head because she's from she's not from an advanced civilization in the first place. But, yeah. Talk to Maria. Nah. Yeah, I mean, but it is what it is. And, yeah. Yeah, that's because you're so fucking useless, Sophia. Maybe if you weren't so fucking useless, you'd be more than a plot device, but unfortunately that's what you've been relegated to, isn't it? Maria does all the work, as we all know. That's what she's basically been doing since we got her, pretty much. She's literally the only person we use in combat.
Okay, done. Where would you like to try to go?
Anywhere's fine with me.
I wonder what Mirage and the rest of them are up to. I hope the executioners didn't get them.
And now we finally get to go to pretty much anywhere that's pretty much that we went to, with the exception of Hyder. You can't go back to Hyder 4, but anywhere else that you went to in Star Ocean 3, you can go back to via here. So this is the one and only way you can fast travel in the entire game. So if you want to go anywhere else, like to any of the other planets or worlds, you can go back to any of them, including Vanguard 3. Yes, you can go back to that world through this terminal here, and you can do it at any moment. I mean, there's not really much reason to go back to Styx. Moonbase, there's not really that much reason to go back there either, but it's cool to go to Moonbase regardless, just simply because it's a cool place to go and visit, and you get to listen to its epic music again. Vanguard 3, you know, there is a private action you can do there, but it doesn't really give you any affection, but there is a scene you can see there, which is nice that they actually gave it you, but, you know. And Elicor 2, there's loads to do there. Oh boy, there is a lot to do in Elicor 2. A lot. And that's where we're going next.
So you want to check out Elicor 2? Okay, let's go.
Hey,
This would be Elicor.
Unbelievable that we made it this far and we didn't even have to use the time gate.
Amazing.
I guess we have no choice but to believe what Vlad was telling us.
So we're really just programs? Somebody made us?
That's what it looks like, yes. I don't know what else to think.
If that's true, then the death of my father, and Amina and Dion, that was all part of some program?
Right. But even if we are programs, we're still alive. We have to be. If we see something as reality, then isn't that reality for us? Isn't that true?
Yeah, it's not like our lives are programmed. There's more to us than that. You know what they say, I think, therefore I am.
You just have to believe what you feel in your heart. Let's choose to believe, Fate. Okay?
Believe in the heart of the cards.
All right. Besides, if we give up now, we'll let down my father and the crew of the Aqua Ellie.
Right.
That's right. We're not done yet. We still gotta lay the smackdown on that creator for what he's done to us.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be dangerous.
Yes, I know. But if this isn't worth risking our lives for, what is?
Yeah, you're right.
But can we really beat the creator? A 4D being?
Of course we can. We defeated the security team, so we know we can hurt them.
You're right. We'll just have to do our best.
Yeah.
I mean, given the fact that this is a game company, you know, and the creator is likely, you know, going to be, I mean, whether the creator or not, the person in charge of the company is likely going to be a publisher and a publisher CEO. I don't feel any sympathy for them whatsoever. So yeah, like, but as I say, and yeah, they're not going to be too much of a threat, like physically at least. I mean, obviously, like, they are a threat in, like, if you're going to, like, deal with them when it comes to, like, legal stuff, but fortunately we don't have to worry too much about that right now. But yeah, you can basically go into this simulated universe, and it's like nothing ever happened, pretty much. Like, everything's just like Tuesday, really. Like, nobody is the wiser in this universe that they're all in a simulator. Like, it's just business as usual. So yeah. But at this point in the game, there's a lot of stuff that opens up, and it's been a while since we've been on Alucard 2, and we need to get some inventors. Now, one of the inventors that we can get, hopefully we have enough full, yes we do, is right here. Gusto. You definitely want this guy. Absolutely. He is worth his weight in full. Absolutely. And yeah, you want to bring Gusto to here. There we go. So there we have another inventor, and yeah, that's going to be what we're going to mainly be doing. We're just going to be doing a lot of side stuff now, because this is the time to start doing side content. So yeah, I'm going to call it there. So thanks for watching, guys, and listening to me ramble on about this game's like 4D universe for like half an hour, and I'll see you next time when we do some side content. So yeah, see you guys.